Welcome to Raw and Real Heart-to-Heart Conversations with Marjorie and Dawn. And the way this started is Dawn and I just had such fantastic conversations through the pandemic. We talk every week that we decided they were way too juicy to not share. So here we are. Happy Thursday.
S-H-I-T. Sure, happy it's Thursday.
All right.
CIF. Sure. This is actually the quote unquote end of my work week because I created working Monday through Thursday.
Nice.
And so typically, I've got other side jobs and things that I do on Fridays, but so typically Thursday is like the day that I officially punch out. So it's cool.
Well, happy Thursday/Friday.
Yes.
Awesome.
I love your map.
Thank you. I have a couple maps. I've got the world map is right next to it. And I have a map of Germany over on the other wall. And
don't know if they're going to be moving today.
Yes, I am. I'm in the living room as opposed to in my bedroom, in my love sack. So I have lazy dogs stretched out next to me. I'm just waiting for them to decide that they need to go out. In fact, One of them is rolling on the floor right now on her back. She does this thing where she rolls on her back or rubs on her back. You might even hear her grunt. Nope, not today. But it just, every time she does it, we've had her for 7 years now. And it doesn't get old. Like every time she does it, there's just such full just enjoyment on her part. And so, like it's just fully self-expressed. And every time I smile, every time it makes me giggle. So I love that about her.
And I loved your post the other day, when you came home from Hamburg and the dogs were all excited to see you, and that that unrequited exuberance,
Right.
to have something that's just that glad to see you with no expectation around it. It's like, okay, so how can I bring that to other people? Because man, does it feel good, right?
Right. Exactly. Yeah. Like I took on, I think about it every once in a while, but I really took on, I don't know, a year ago or something. What if I lived my life the way my dogs do? Every time, Dave was traveling at that point, and so, he came home weekly. What if I greeted him with that kind of just, oh my gosh, you've been gone so long. I'm so excited to see you. And it really, it shifted things for me. I started seeing things fresh each time instead of, oh yeah, we've been here before. Right. And, and that's what dogs bring, right? It's like, everything's like, oh, you've been gone so long. No, I just went to the bathroom. Right. Like,
Yeah, time is really interesting for animals too, right? Like, they don't really have a passage of time. They just get that you were here and now you're not. And now you're back.
Exactly. Misty is she's the back rubber. She's very expressive. So last night when I was on that Zoom call, she was trying to let me know that it was dinner time. And so she came over and just kind of put her head. She'll do this thing where she just walks up or sits down next to you and she just flops. And so she did that. And then she also does this thing where she'll sit in front of us on the couch. So like she's facing in the same direction we are. And then she'll look back at us. So all you see is like eyeballs and nose. So she kind of did a combination of that yesterday, and it totally disrupted the Zoom call because the one person just started laughing and the person leading was like, what is happening? And then towards the end, she started doing this talking thing she does, which when we first got her, we thought she was growling, but it's a distinct difference now. that we can hear. But she was starting to, she's like, you haven't gotten the subtle hints, so I need to turn the volume up a little bit.
Sure. Boy, do we do that too, right?
Right? I was just thinking that. Yep.
Yeah. If I'm not getting what I need, and then all of a sudden I get annoyed, and then my voice gets sharper, or, yeah. Huh. Yeah. We all do that, right? Like naturally.
Yep.
How cool.
Yep. Yeah. It's never a dull moment around here with all of our fur babies.
So for everybody, what is the current status, right? Because you're home now. You took your trip to Hamburg, mm-hmm. and you loved it and fell in love with everything, and your teenage daughter is all about it.
Oh, and she's so excited.
Yeah. I mean, and you're starting to, actions, you're like, no, I want to be able to walk around this town all the time. So, right. Like, that's automatically changing as your health and well-being is just automatically living into that future.
Yeah.
And so what's the current status?
So in the world of my speaking creates my future, the status is that we have our house and they are willing to sell it to us. And they are, I'm trying to think of like the best way to word it, right? Since it's not entirely all true yet. They are looking at their future home Monday or Tuesday next week. And so once they fall in love with that house, when they fall in love with that house, then they are willing to sell to us. So it's kind of a chain right now, all of it verbal agreements, and I'm just speaking as if that's our house. The last day in Hamburg, Dave and I took a walk, and I was like, "You want to go walk by our house?" He kind of looked at me funny, but yeah, I am acting as if it's a done deal. And continue to practice aligning my speaking in that realm too. That's that murky place where my logical brain is like, yeah, but it's not yet. And my, manifesting side is like, yes, but this is how you attract it, speak it into existence. So there's always a little battle in my head when and then the grammar gets weird, and it's a whole thing.
You really have to be like really intentional about like each and every word, so that it, it's actually speaking it into existence, not, exactly. Or like, that it's already happened, like a past conversation. Like,
right.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. So yes, we have a house, and the current owners are about to fall in love with their new place and move out. And it will be easy, and we won't have to get in a bidding war. And yeah. And another house came on the market Monday, is open from Saturday to Tuesday, I think, for offers. And then they're reviewing offers on Tuesday, which one of my clients is a realtor, and she's like, that is not how we do things here. And of course, Dave has his opinions about it, which, I agree with, that it really does set up a bidding war. Like his point is, it's like a silent auction. Like,
yeah.
How do you know how much, the market being the way it is now, you have to offer more than asking. So how do you know how much more than asking, And in our case, we had a couple offer more than asking, and then the appraisal came back matching what we were asking. And we just, we wanted to sell it, and we liked them. They were a young couple with, a middle schooler and a baby. And that's the house that I bought when when I was a single mom. And so just having joy and fun and love and family in there was my intention. And so I was happy to reduce. So.
Well, and everything that you've shared about this, this new neighborhood and this new town and everything that you're going to be moving into, it seems like they would also have that as a consideration, right? Like it wouldn't necessarily be, all the way about money for them, right? And
for them especially, since they haven't even put it on the market yet.
Exactly, right? So there's, there'll be other things that they'll consider besides the dollar.
Exactly. Like the fact that all they have to do is move.
Yeah.
They don't have to do anything else, just move. And gosh, getting a house ready to sell is a bitch.
Yes.
I'm not looking forward to it. I keep noticing the things around here, where the noses have open doors. And so, there's kind of this grossness on the door and, oh, what happened there? It's, the paint's all gone. And, like all these little things that I haven't noticed that now are in my vision. And yeah, so.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah. I love the, the manifesting. Like, I just want to circle back to really having that be kind of clear, because there's, to tag on to that, what's happening in my world is that, I don't know what my future looks like right now. And what I'm familiar with is to say that this is what I want.
Yeah.
Right. Like, and it shows up like pouty, right? Like, Brad, I want that. And as I'm discovering spirituality, as I'm really getting connected to a higher power, as I'm surrendering to what I don't know. I mean, literally dancing in the unknown. Because I know myself to be a powerhouse. Like I can manifest the crap out of something, right? Like this is going to happen by hook or by crook. Like I'm going to make this happen. And so it's so interesting to hear your conversation of manifesting and at the same time be over here like, I know what I'd like to have, but I don't know what is best for me. I've got inklings. There's, there's conversations and I'm listening to spirit guides and all the woo woo and all that. And, and I know what makes me happy.
Well, and my experience is how'd you word it? By hook or by crook?
By hook or by crook, man.
That often actually limits what's possible.
Yeah.
Because it's limited by what we can imagine. And we generally don't imagine as big as is possible. And I think that's one of the things that I'm loving about this journey is it's all just been so organic and easy. And it's just been conversations. And, I don't know if I'd mentioned it last week, but one of the things that was really cool while we were there is we went to see a house the very first day we were there that was going to be going on the market. And it was out a little ways and it was a great house. We could have totally, loved living in that house. And we had just walked for 12,000 steps that day all around, walked out of the house, walked back to the house, walk to stores. And so we had this juxtaposition because the house that we looked at was out a little, it was in a bedroom community outside of town. And, we really got, okay, thank you for the opportunity to look at this house because now we're really clear. No, we want to live in the village. Yes, we know it's going to cost more. Yes, all of those things that
all the concerns and considerations and
that everybody else has exactly are actually things we want, happy to pay the extra taxes because of what we get for it. And, that's really ultimately this move. Everybody's like, oh, but the taxes. Oh, but the snow. Well, actually, we want both of those. Happy to pay the taxes because of what we get for them. Definitely missed the snow. We had this great conversation on the drive, Dave and I did, about, what is it about cold weather that has people, like, there's all this judgment and story around colder weather compared to warm weather, right? Like there's just this somehow unspoken agreement that warm weather is good and cold weather is bad.
Hmm.
And people speak from that and interact with us in this whole adventure, from that. Oh, but the snow. Yeah, the snow. Like that's part of why we're moving. Hate to sweat. I hate the weather down here, and right now I'm loving it. I love the springs here. I love everything's in bloom and it's beautiful. And I'm thinking, do I really want to move? But I know in a week, definitely in a month, I will be like, what was I thinking? Yes, I want to get out of here. But just even, the number of people when we went to look at the houses, our house had just, kids and dogs being walked and, it was so neighborly.
Community, I hear too.
Yeah.
And connection and community and
exactly. Yeah. Like I could see grilling out or, and having people over, and Isabella's just super thrilled, to be a teenager and have access to freedom, right? Like, hey, yeah. I'll be back at this time. I'm going to be here. I've got my phone.
When the street lights go out, you better be home.
We had that conversation a lot. Exactly. Yep. And, here we live so far out that for her to get together with somebody, it's an all day affair.
Yeah.
Because if I'm going to drive her to somebody's house, then it's 45 minutes there, 45 minutes back, and then 45 minutes again to go pick her up and 45 minutes back. Well, no. So let me see if we can coordinate that with me doing something else that I need to do. Like it's, and when we first moved here, it is, it's a production. That's a great way to put it. Yeah. When we first moved here, I equated it to, okay, I got to hitch up the wagons. I'm going into town, right? Like, get the library books, okay, where else do we need to go while we're there? Because so,
it's, like a pilgrimage, it's your it's your outing.
Yeah.
Which for some people, that's really great. I mean, that, works for them. I couldn't imagine commuting, right? I mean, like actually, working outside the home and doing that every day, right? If you worked outside the home and did it every day, there's a little bit different experience because, on the way into work, on the way back from work, you can do some things. But if, you have the opportunity to work from home, there's a sense of isolation that can
exactly,
really occur. And that's great for people who don't like people.
Like my older child who, is getting ready to graduate. Like he loves it out here.
Yep.
And, he'd probably like it in Hamburg too, but he's perfectly happy. He's content being all the way out here.
Yep.
And I mean, in many ways I am too, except that I'm not, right? Like there was
feel like you have an experience that something really is missing. Like there's really a missing. You're content. It's complacent. It's okay. It's fine.
Yeah. And it's been this sort of just like, is this it? Kind of, and I haven't realized what was missing until last week, right? Like that's been the thing this week for all three of us is, right? Like, granted, Isabella and I were more or less, I mean, she definitely, I still spoke to my clients, but a lot of my regular things that I do, I canceled and, but still just, when was it? Wednesday? No, Tuesday. I drove Connor to school and then came home. And then I Oh, and then Isabella had an orthodontist appointment. So I went back out for that and came back home. And then I took Dave to get his second vaccine shot and came back home. You know, the first and third trip were 45 minutes each way. And then, you know, her orthodontist appointment was 20 minutes each way. You know, I spent a lot of time in the car.
Yeah. I mean, you know, you got like, that's like 4 hours.
And that's my regular. That's my regular. And then I wonder why I don't get things done.
Yeah. Well, as soon as you get started doing something, you got to stop and
exactly. Yeah. And that's a celebration that I have. So from, I'm saying from my emotional stress diffusions that I get weekly, I have had it in the past, like, why bother starting a project? Because it's just going to, like, I have in the past waited for big chunks of time.
Yeah.
And one of the things I've noticed in the past couple of weeks is that I'm using little bits of time. And I'm celebrating the accomplishments in those little bits of time. And that's really the big thing, right? In the past, it was like it was go big or go home, right? Like it had to be a big accomplishment, otherwise it didn't count.
You had to see it to fruition. Like there had to be like a big transformation for you to really be able to celebrate it and start a project and end a project. Like actually have it be completed. Yeah.
Whereas 2 weeks ago, right before we left, I was on the phone with Laura and I was going through like my underwear drawer and, you know, just the little drawers that I have. And, you know, I don't know about you. This is one of those. Am I really going to talk about this on a recorded line?
Raw and real.
Exactly. That's why we're here, right? You know, like my underwear drawer, you know, I have the underwear that I like to wear, that I wear daily, you know, then I've got my, you know, sexy, fun underwear that I wear on special occasions. Sometimes I used to wear those more regularly. I don't since the pandemic started. And then I have the other underwear, the underwear that doesn't quite fit right. Or, you know, the underwear that halfway through the day, I'm like, oh, damn, it's this pair. You know, they may look like some of the other ones. So, right? You know what I'm talking about. You got those on now?
I have that pair on right now. Right now. And I mean, it's to the point where I'm like, oh, it's these.
Right.
Oh, next time I go to the bathroom, they're out. And they got to go right to the garbage, where before I would put them in the laundry, I'd wash them, and they'd go back in the drawer. I'd forget about it. And then I put them back on, and then I'm going through the same damn frustration. And I'm like,
yep.
So I'm actually I got rid of those as I go.
Yes. Yeah, exactly. So I went through those. I had socks that I'm pretty sure dated back to either college. Now I'm 45. College was, as my friend Brittany says, college was a minute. You know, it's been a minute, right? Like it's been a minute since college. I am not counting how many minutes that is. But, you know, like these, I can't tell you the last time I wore any of them.
Yeah.
You know, the socks that I like to wear now have, you know, sharks or sloths or koalas or, you know, like the fun socks. Those are what I like to wear. So I got rid of pretty much everything else. Wow. I think I kept like 1 or 2 pairs of just like plain white socks, just in case I needed them for something. I got rid of
especially going to snow, you're going to need some boot socks.
Right. Exactly. And, you know, these were like the crew socks, I think is what they're called, right? Like they come up, but they're not all the way up.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, and so I forgot that I had done that. And so I came home. First of all, I unpacked my suitcase on Monday. We came back Sunday night. I was like, who the hell am I?
Right? Who the heck are you right now? Wait a minute. Where'd you do with my friend Marjorie?
Usually Dave's got all unpacked. And then I'm like, I guess I should too. You know, suitcase is still sitting in the middle of the bedroom. His is not unpacked yet, which just, you know.
Totally tickles you.
It's not an annoyance. Nope. It's like, look at me, I'm done and you're not. And, you know, mostly because usually I'm lagging and I'm like, okay, sure, I'll catch up. Right. So, but I'm putting away they had a washer dryer there, right? So, I did all the laundry before we came back. And so I'm putting away clean clothes out of the suitcase. And I opened my underwear drawer and I was like, whose drawer is this? I had folded. That's the part I forgot to tell you. I hadn't folded underwear and I don't know how long. Everything was neatly folded, organized. I had my cotton underwear here, my, silky ones over here. So I opened the drawer to put, throw my stuff in. And I'm like, oh, but I can't now. Like, look how pretty it is. I'm not going to mess it up. So then I folded things and put them away. And just that little thing, right? Like of choosing to maintain and to continue. And so now I'm like excited. Okay, what else can I?
There's momentum.
Take just a teeny bit of ground on and then maintain, right? There's a whole new context instead of, go big or go home, right? Or go big or don't do,
Well, look, so, I mean, what I'm really present to as you're speaking, from knowing you all these years, right, is like, having this new home, right? Like this new opportunity.
Yeah.
And you're really seeing where, there's been just stuff like you've been tolerating, right? Like you've just been under, and tolerating and enduring and creating this new space for yourself. There's forward momentum because this is not who I know you to be at all.
Right.
You're just kind of, it's from one thing to the next. Right. So there's not like time to clean up and time to take care. And there's like a new sense of caring and like a new sense of, you can have nice things, you can have nice space, you can have, and you don't
deserve it.
Yeah. And keeping the stuff that's actually been, holding you back so that you can't actually be present to the underwear that really make you happy and the socks that are really functional. And that,
or make me happy.
Make you happy.
It's not I didn't even keep the functional ones. I kept the ones that, when I put them on, they make me giggle. Well,
it's so perfect.
I love that you said that because one of the things that I think we all really got with the first house, well, the second house, the house that we went there knowing about that was for sale, that was a flip house. And in looking through it, we came to this conclusion of we could make this house work. And that's not what this move is. This is not a make it work move. This is we love it and we could live here forever. Yeah. And, I just got that's what dating was like for me after my first marriage.
Oh.
Was, can I see myself forever with this person? So it's the same experience. And, once I got to Dave, I was like, yeah, ooh, bless you. Man, that was like talented muting and everything. Very cool.
I knew it was going to be a loud one too. So I was like, oh,
impressive. But yeah, once I got to Dave, it was like, I could envision us, sitting in, probably not rocking chairs, but, sitting on a front porch, joking about people walking by or, whatever it might be. And, yeah, exactly. Right.
The neighborhood kids, running up and, everybody hanging out to listen to, Margie's stories
or Dave's jokes. Yeah.
Yep.
And, this is the same sort of experience. Like I can so see us, like I'm already like remodeling this house. The kitchen's a little small. I really want an attached garage. The garage is just barely detached. It's right next to.
Oh, so like a breezeway or something, right?
Well, but it's behind too. So I'm envisioning, okay, we could expand the kitchen out and attach it to the garage, and then we have the kitchen that we really want as well as an attached garage. So I'm already,
there is nothing like pulling into the garage and it's dry and it's warm and taking your groceries directly into the kitchen. I mean, there is just this incredible, like, leave the door wide open. And I mean, it just, there's really something to be said for not having to take groceries in when it's, in inclement weather.
And I haven't had that since my very first apartment, which was a duplex. It was the bottom half of the house. And so I had an attached garage. I haven't had that since then. And that was 1998. I moved out.
Wow.
No, yeah, 98 is when I moved.
What a great memory. That's awesome.
Yeah. I lived there for a year. That was it. It's the only time I've had, I had a garage in King, but I didn't use it because, you had to heave it up. It didn't have a garage door opener or anything. And so, that's been one thing that I've wanted. And so this house doesn't have it. So I'm already in, but we could. And this is how it could work.
Possible.
Yeah. So it's, I can see myself growing old with it, just like I could with Dave. And it doesn't have a front porch, but it does have like a front, like patio sort of, it's not covered, but,
Yeah, but that's doable too.
Right. Well, exactly. And, it's a place to sit out front. So, it still fits with, with my growing old image.
Yep.
So yeah, it's, I'm seeing I'm connecting the dots, of I can make this work is uphill. And, there's an underlying suffering in, I can make that work. Right. And there's definitely tolerating.
Yeah, I hear it.
And with the shift from what's really going to just bring joy? I mean, that's how we ended up in Hamburg. Nope, this doesn't feel right. Don't like this about this town. No, this is too expensive, whatever. That's how we worked our way around to Hamburg. So
yeah,
this or something better, following the feel of it.
Yeah, follow the feels.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's so interesting, that you say that, because there's been this interesting pull. You know how things just start to show up, and you're like, that's so weird. So, I live here in Charlotte now, and look, I love Charlotte. I love everything. I love the access to all of the culture and everything that's right here. And I've always considered myself a city girl. I love city. I love having all the access to it. And
because you're an action junkie.
Oh my God. Yeah. I like people, and I like all that energy, and I like, like you, I do like walking, places and things like that. And at the same time, there's been, when I first moved here, we lived in a small town called Hickory, which is about an hour from here. And interestingly, I had somebody that I was really close to reach out to me and start this group where I'm in communication with some of the people I was in community with in Hickory. And then her and I started, having more conversations. And then a couple other people that I knew from Hickory were reaching out to me. And, my parents still live there. And they're, my dad is ill. He's ailing. And my mom is taking care of him full time. And there's a lake there. And one of the things that I know that really makes me happy is to live on water.
Right. That was part of ours. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I mean, I want to be connected to water and earth and, having that whole experience. And so, with you saying that about, really whittling out, like taking out what doesn't work, and really standing in what do you want, what makes you happy, what brings joy. It's not like I want this, right? Like I said before, but more like, what really brings me joy. And, I do miss being a contribution to my folks. My Josh mentioned, he's like, don't go out of obligation. Don't consider moving to Hickory because you have to help take care of your father. Like, don't do that to them. Right. So it's so interesting, what you're saying, really, clearing that space out, for everybody. It's like, when you're making a decision, it's like, start to look at the things that make you happy, the things that actually bring you joy. And it's almost like carving something. There's like this big lump of clay. And when you start to take away what doesn't work about it, then it actually shows up what you truly want.
Right.
You know, and you can actually, manifest it, make it happen.
Like that quote from Michelangelo, right? He created David by taking away everything that wasn't David.
And that's also what I hear that you're doing, right? Like even in your underwear drawer, in your sock drawer, right?
Everything matters.
Yeah.
I have a commitment. I have declared I'm not moving anything that, doesn't need to be moved. And if it doesn't bring me joy, it's going to bring somebody else joy. And so,
yep.
Get rid of it. And that's the approach I'm taking right now too. I was sharing that with another friend and she's like, oh, so you're putting your business on hold. And I said, no, absolutely not. What I'm doing is I am standing, and if everything's connected, which I believe, which she believed, like I said, if everything's connected, then me clearing the space in my house and getting ready to move absolutely is making space for new clients to find me, for new people to show up, for, it's all inside the same conversation. And, Dawn, not taking that on, that alone has made such a difference, because now I don't feel pulled. Like if I stop and, do the dishes, I am not over here going, yeah, but, you should be doing this with your business, or, maybe you should market, or maybe you should this. It's like, nope, I have one practice that I am continuing, and that's the posting every day on Instagram. And that's it. And I do that at night, because everybody that I follow on my business account are feel good, inspirational. There are other coaches and, Marianne Williamson and, people like that, it's a great way to go to bed.
Yeah.
Upworthy, those are the accounts that I follow. And I take about 15 minutes every day, as was, taught to me earlier this year in my social media class. And that's it. And I'm just trusting that it's all working. And what's really beautiful, I just, I've been working on my taxes, and I found the last year's sheet that I sent to the accountant. And so Dave and I were just working on those. I tripled my income last year compared to the year before. And I thought that I had made more, but, as you can tell just from my verbiage, I don't keep very good books. And so when it comes to tax time, I'm scrambling and trying to pull everything out. Oh, is there anything else? Is there some receipt that I'm missing? And it's the stressful thing. And I'm committed. I'm better this year than I was last year. And I'm committed to keep that growth as well. And I found some good tools that help, and it's a matter of scheduling the time and doing it. But but yeah, like seeing that I tripled my income during a pandemic, the first 3 months did not make up the difference. And yeah, like that's super exciting to me. Like, okay, I've really gotten in the groove of me, as opposed to what can I do for you? What is it that you need me to do? It's no, what do I need me to do? And giving myself that and honoring that and letting go of any reactions from others that don't align with that. And yeah.
Wow.
It's pretty exciting. And it's so connected. Like I can just see just in this conversation. I hadn't connected a lot of those dots before.
Yeah. It's like there's this sense of peace and calm and flow.
Exactly.
From over there. It's, there's not like a, I need to, I have to, and none of that conversation is right there. And it's not even like you're trying to tell yourself I get to, you're just like, nope, this is what I've committed to. And this is what forward to the game. And, here's the next dice to roll.
Yep.
Here's the next action to take. And it's just Yep.
Oh, in that vein, I was talking to somebody yesterday about to-do lists, and she was saying that she writes everything on it, and, you know, some of it gets done and some doesn't. And I said, oh, it's a could-do list. And she's like, oh, I love that. But I'm so lit up. I hate to-do lists, right? Because I have in the past used them to then punish myself, right? Because in my head, it takes 5 minutes, and, you know, in reality, it takes an hour, and then, you know, I'm behind, and I'm more behind, and I'm more behind, and
Yep.
And then I go to bed, you know, upset that I only got 3 things done instead of, you know, the 25 I had on my list.
Right.
But if I label it could-do list, like, there's so much choice available.
Yeah. Oh, I love that.
I could do that. What could I do now? Like, there's just so, oof. So yeah.
Yeah, that's juicy, because there's definitely no have to or to do, right? And it's, you know, yeah.
I could do list.
That's awesome.
Like, I'm actually excited to write that list. You know?
Possibility pulled you forth.
Yeah.
I love that.
Yep.
That's awesome.
Yeah. Well, and I love how both of us are really in creating our future.
Yeah.
Like, what feels good for me?
Yeah.
Not what should I do? Not, I mean, same thing, right? I mean, in both of our moves, it's a could-do list. It's not.
Yep. Yeah, it's so interesting. As you were sharing, you know, about the underwear, and oddly, you know, you and I talked for a few minutes last night while we were on the phone. I was doing the same thing. I was cleaning out my panty drawer. And then I cleaned, you know, a couple other drawers out and got rid of stuff that I had been like, well, maybe this. And if I said maybe, it was out. I was done. Right.
Nice.
And, you know, things that bring me joy. And I'm sitting in my office, and look, since I was little, I've played office. Like, my grandfather had this amazing roll top desk, and with staples and the, you know, I mean, my grandmother would let me go in his office, and I would just sit there for hours, and I would just like paper clip stuff and staple stuff and organize papers. And like, I loved the feel and the smell of paper and filing cabinets. Like, that was just, I don't know. I mean, it wasn't even like teachery. It was more like, you know, just like being a secretary almost. I don't know where it came from. I was little.
And for anybody that doesn't know Dawn, she loves spreadsheets now, so it all fits.
Oh yeah.
I can see the connection.
Right there. Click, click, click. And as I'm cleaning things out, I'm like, you know, I have all these decorative papers, and I have all these, like, you know, clearing for art of some sort, you know, like invitations that I had bought when they were on sale. And it's not like an abundance, but there's enough that it seems maybe excessive. And I'm like, oh, I should really get rid of that stuff. And I'm like, wait, no, I really love having that around. I love when I get inspired and I want to, like, some random idea will pop into my head to do something, and I've got the size and the color and the texture of the paper that I want to put it on. I love having that in my space. I've got like a whole little drawer of different size and color markers and pens and things like that. And I'm like, oh, I should really pare those down.
Me too.
That just seems excessive. And I'm like, no, I love those. I'm like, I love having, like, knowing that they're there, and it's like my little play space. And I'm like, nope. I just got from our conversation is like, I'm shoulding. And those things really bring me joy. I mean, is there space for me to maybe, you know, but it really brings me joy to have those things in my life. And
it doesn't matter if anybody else understands that.
Nope. Because
it's your joy.
And yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
I totally get that.
But I do have a filing cabinet full of, I don't know, crap, like receipts and things that I've saved, and, you know, books and things like that. And it would be very easy to clean that file cabinet out and make space for all those papers and all that stuff so that there's actually like an art cabinet. It becomes like an art cabinet. And then one filing cabinet can be for, receipts and important things. But, I can have 2 whole drawers that are literally for art. Oh, very exciting.
And all of a sudden cleaning out those drawers is exciting instead of drudgery.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Context is decisive, right?
Oh my. Yes, it certainly is. Yeah. There's definitely like light me up, like, ooh, That's
so awesome. Yay.
So, and the other piece that's next is, as I dig into, so look, for those of you that don't know me, I have a saying that shoes are like sex and money. You can never have enough. And so I have a shoe collection and, I probably wear a quarter of them. And then there's probably another quarter that I could wear, that I would have for special occasions, right? But there's some of them that are just collections. Like they're just beautiful that I just adore. They're almost like, like a piece of art. Like I've got these amazing gray boots and they're almost like spats. They're leather and suede, right? So they've got like leather across the top, like spats, but then like they're suede up the side. Oh my God, they're gorgeous. And I probably haven't worn them in 5 years or so. So my life is dramatically different. And, as I start to go through that stuff and I'm like, how to sort out, in my mind, like, look, there again, they bring me joy to look at them and to know that they're in my closet. So then it's going to be like, put them on, wear them for an hour. And can I wear them? Like, can my body take them now? Right. And then, or maybe let them bring joy to somebody else who's got that same shoe thing and can actually show them off out in the world. Because right now they're kind of hidden. Nobody gets to see them.
Or they're decorations on your bedroom wall.
Could be.
Right? Like that's what I was envisioning, right? Like these little shelves that, if you did want to wear them, you could, but for the most part, they're just visible for you to bring you that joy that they bring all the time, not just when you go in your closet.
Really great. Yeah, because right now they're in a bin under the bed. So I never get to see them. They're just like in my mind. So I could actually create like a whole decorative scheme around it. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Because I make sure that they're, I've got magazines that I roll up and I put them in so that they stand up nice and, don't fall apart. So yeah, the ones that I really treasure that were like finds, I used to love to go into shoe stores and find amazing shoes. And I have this one pair that is, they've got this amazing heel and they're all that like strappy, but each strap is a different color and it's snakeskin. They are amazing.
Wow.
Like they are extraordinary. Like I intentionally always wore all black with them so that like all you would notice was my shoes. Yeah. Huge shoe thing. My babies. So yeah, really great idea. Like either they can be display, bring joy to someone else, check in and see whether or not I can wear them. And then maybe they can.
Nobody puts baby in a corner.
Nobody puts baby in the corner.
Or under the bed in a tub.
I know. Yeah.
Awesome. Yay. Yeah. Ooh, this is just so juicy.
It's so juicy.
Both of us creating our futures from just creation, right? Like it's just, there's no have tos, there's no shoulds, there's just what feels right, what feels good. Now what?
There's something else that showed up for me in the world of relationships for us, right? Because, initially when you spoke to, you were going to be moving away and it wasn't going to be like, an hour drive, right? Because right now we're what, like 2 hours apart. Mm-hmm. And we really don't see each other very much now. Maybe once a month or so, we might, spend 30 minutes or so together. And when you said you're going to be moving that far away, what was right there was, oh, my friend's leaving me. And it was like immediately gone. Because, now we've got this world of virtual. And, as things open up, and we've got this great little airport called the Concord Airport that's really close to us, and the flights are like $30, and I'm like, no, that's just like all kinds of craziness made up in my head, because look, you're part of my life. You've been part of my life through this whole pandemic when everybody's been shut down. So like the sense of loss that I would typically feel when somebody's like moving away.
Yeah.
That was like, nope. And I get to have another vacation spot.
Right.
Like, wouldn't that be great to be able to come up, and because I love being up north, not in the snow. I wouldn't come up in the snow. I don't want to get trapped up there. But, and, who knows, right? But it would be just really great to have that experience and walk with you. I can see us walking together in town and you introducing me to all of your neighbors and us sitting on the porch and chatting with all your friends. And yeah.
And in the time it takes me to come visit you now, we can be in Toronto.
Oh, and I love Toronto. It's one of my favorite cities. I got to visit.
I've never
Toronto.
Been there. So you'll have to come up and show me around.
Oh, I loved it. I loved it. Yeah, I forgot that would be that close, because we went, I went there for an anniversary trip. We went to Niagara, and then we visited Toronto for about 3 days, and I fell in love with that city. It's a really great city. So absolutely, I would come up there. Yeah, for sure. Yeah, like July when it's like really hot and nasty down here, come up and visit you, and with the water that's right there, it's just a perfect temperature.
Yeah, and then we can go even farther north together.
And
you can show me around Toronto.
The Canadian train trip where you can go across Canada in a train.
Oh,
there's like there's like an adventure thing. My parents talked about it a long time ago because they love traveling by train. So they shared with me that there's like a train that'll take you like across Canada somehow.
So it's like the Orient Express, but for Canada.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah, I'll have to look that up. So that'd be cool.
Well, I love trains too. So definitely tell me about that.
For sure.
That's the other thing. There's a brewery in town. Now we didn't get to go because they were closed the entire week. They opened the day the next day, on Monday. But it's a German-based brewery, so they have a huge room that is model trains. And I grew up with model trains, much smaller gauge. I grew up with N gauge, and this looks like this is an HO, which is, your standard. Most people wouldn't know that. But anyway, the HO is about this big for a car, like a passenger car is about this big for HO, and for N, it's like, this big.
Oh.
So significantly, maybe a quarter of the size. But we had the little gauge because then we could build a lot, but it was small. And, HO takes up a lot of room. And so they have a whole room. So I was so excited to go to see the model train room. And, and Dave was so excited to go try their beers. And it's on water. They have a lake right there, so you can sit outside. And we were so looking forward to that. And it was closed. So yeah, there's wow. That's one thing that we're definitely looking forward to checking out when we go back. So.
For sure. I'm definitely looking forward to coming up and visiting you. And I get to see you next Wednesday. I'm excited about that. Yay. Well, it's a busy work. So I am going to get back to it and doing lots of HR this week. So I am, facilitating, and people are working again. I'm pretty excited about that because it's been a little struggle over here with finding staffing right now. There's a big staffing shortage in the service industry. Yeah. With, between unemployment, because most service people are, it's their second job.
Yeah.
In a lot of cases. And, so what's happening is between unemployment and the stimulus checks, it's really, that people don't want to risk their unemployment and, those kinds of things. So, they're not working right now, doing their second jobs and things like that. So, we've been really struggling with finding people to work our events, and we've got a lot of events coming up, with the catering company, and then, with our food and beverage management company, there's, all that. So, we've been in a big hiring. And so there's a lot of HR to be done right now. So I've been doing a lot of that, and then event planning and things like that. So
with it becoming the end of the school year, there may be some, high school graduates and things or college students who are back for the summer, or, you may be able to
for sure. And they want, yeah, for sure. What we're discovering is that unless they're looking for, a future in the service industry, they're really, which is awesome. Now, don't get me wrong. It's not like that there's anything wrong here. But what I love about the college students and things like that is that they want to work in the field that they're eventually going to work in. Right?
Yeah.
And they also, if not, they're going to do really something quality of life based, because most people's pay, most people are paying about the same amount across the board, regardless of what you do. And a lot of what we do is on a greenway. So they can be camp counselors. They can be, they can work the kayak plot, area. We've got the Whitewater Center right around the corner. So they're doing things that they can have fun at the same time, so, for some people, service worker, being in the food industry is cool. But, it's not as easy with the students that are coming out of college right now, because they want to do something that maybe they can put on their resume or their college, those kinds of things. So, I've been reaching out to all the food, culinary arts schools and things like that. And, but
smart.
They're in high demand. Food service people are in high demand right now. So,
Well, good luck.
Thanks.
And, yeah. And for anybody who is enjoying these conversations, please, please, please subscribe. If you're watching on YouTube, I don't even know how it works on Spotify, if there's a subscribe option. Yep. But if there is, do that there too.
Add to your library, I think.
There you go. And it's so fulfilling for me to know, even if our conversations make a difference for one person, that just makes me happy that us chatting can make a difference. And I'm a firm believer, it called the butterfly effect, right? Yeah. Just that, that one little stone in the water and then the ripples, and let us know.
Yeah, I would love to know if something that, that you heard from our conversations made a difference in your life, and where it did. Even, cleaning out, did you get inspired to clean out one of your drawers?
Just one. Drawers. Doesn't have to be all of them, just one.
No, or anything that you heard that made a difference for you would be really great to know. Thank you for being here.
Yay. Talk to you next week.
Hey, honey. Bye.